This is Teaching to the Test Pattern.
Hey, buddy, welcome to Teaching to the Test Pattern. I'm Tom White, and this is part 2 of my conversation with Shannon Reed from West Hall High School in Gainesville, Georgia. And in this conversation, we start with me explaining how or why I started the podcast. We also talk about throughout the episode some of the things that Shannon does in his classroom, and more importantly, some of his biggest wins in his classroom. And it's a pretty cool story to hear Shannon, who comes from a math background, teaching at his alma mater, and just really knocking it out of the park as he builds this program and he's teaching these kids. Not only we talk about soft skills throughout, but he's talking about film production. He talks about broadcast production, and he says some things in here that really just that stick with me about some of the extra stuff that we teach that, you know, I think about, but we never really talk about. And so pay attention to those things. Also pay attention while I am promoting our sponsor, Amatrace, AMITRACE.com. If you are expecting to move into a new building or a new facility, or they're building you a new studio area, your school system probably has what are called CREs, construction-related equipment grants. And those are grants from the state that your school system will apply for. If you're opening next fall, they'll probably apply for them in this right now. And you'll have access, or they'll have access, or someone will have access to them in July. If you're in that boat, go ahead and have that conversation with your administration and say, hey, listen, I know these things are here. Let's work together to get the best thing possible. And let's make sure that we take care of this program long term. And then reach out to Amatrace, AMITRACE.com. Have a conversation with those guys. Tell them what your vision is. Let them see your space. Let them see the plans for your space if you're not at the point that you can take them there. And they're going to build you. They're going to build you a package that is exactly what you need. It's going to be everything you need. They're not going to nickel and dime you on the backside and go, oh yeah, we didn't charge you $30 for this. Also, in addition to the equipment, you're going to get training. The training is priceless. I can't describe how great the training is. I've talked to numerous people and they're like, listen, I just called and said I needed training and I needed help on this. And they knew exactly what the problem was or what I didn't understand, and they helped with that. So give them a look, AMITRACE.com. That's Amatrace. They know what they're doing. They've been doing it for about 30 years. So definitely give them a look, Amatrace, AMITRACE.com. And you can give them a look while you give this a listen.
Teaching to the Test Pattern.
So when I started this podcast, I started it for teachers like you. I tell people that there are 3 types of video production teachers. There's the teacher who loves film, who that's their thing. And
right.
There's tons of podcasts for that. I mean, you can literally spend forever watching filmmaking podcasts. Right. There's the other teacher that is the broadcast person. And that person is, you know, they love news. They love, you know, turning a quick package, turning a quick interview and going from there. And then there's the third, which is you, which is the converted math teacher, converted social studies teacher who, you know, whether they wanted to or not, you know, I see more and more often that there's a not, and, you know, hey, they go in and they're teaching math on Tuesday and then they go, well, Monday, you're going to start teaching video production, bone up kid. And it's like, oh, and
yeah, that's scary. And
this podcast is for that. And that's why I think having you on here is a pretty good thing, so that, you know, for that science teacher or for that math teacher that's getting thrown at them, or they're just starting, that they can see, you know, that it's possible. It's possible to get in there and have a good time with the kids and learn new things while you're teaching them.
Right. That first year that I was doing this, I might have been 5 days ahead of the kids.
You're doing better than most.
Thanks.
There are some days that, you know, 10 years in of just teaching video, I'm 90 minutes ahead of the kids.
Well, we definitely write our lesson plans, and then, you know, you get about 15 minutes in before you abandon it. And it's like, let's just do this other thing.
Yeah. So what's the biggest difference between teaching, an academic course and video production?
The academic courses, I guess one of the main differences is the local people to bounce ideas off of, like in the building. Like as a math teacher, there were 9 other math teachers in the building. So we had our department meetings and everything. CTAE, Career Tech, has department meetings, but we're all teaching something absolutely different. That's been the main thing, is just, having to outsource that support and things like that. And, everyone that I've spoken to has been super helpful in that. It started out, just in our district. And then when I discovered the Facebook group and things like that, and, you've been a super big help. Those have kind of relieved that stress a little bit. But the other thing is that you get a different attitude out of the kids because they want to be in there. So they're paying attention a little bit more to the things that you're talking about. So, I mean, there's definitely pros. I mean, the pros definitely outweigh the cons for what I'm doing now. The other side to it, the only things that I've run into are there's a lot more, I guess, extra stuff that we're kind of putting in on these career tech classes.
By extra stuff, what do you mean?
Like you're not just going in and teaching audio, video, tech, and film. You're teaching other beneficial things. Like we're in charge of the soft skills. We're in charge of, we've got the CTSOs and things like that, skills and FFA if you're agriculture and things like that, HOSA. All those are super beneficial. But a lot of times teachers that I'm working with, they're like, oh, you just go over there and you play with videos all day. I'm like, no. We've got so many other things that we're doing over here. So, and the thing is, I wouldn't take any of them away because they're all super beneficial. And it's things that when a kid comes out and like, man, I wish they would have taught me that in school. Well, obviously you didn't take the right class because we were teaching it. We were there. I was teaching you how to shake hands. I was teaching you how to sit in an interview. I was teaching you how to do all those things.
And those are the things, honestly, I tell parents who are on the fence about my course that my class is a life class shrouded in video production. Deadlines, yes. Communication, teamwork, reading, writing, those are the foundations of our classes. And there's very few things that bring me greater joy. I got an email Saturday, which I haven't responded to yet because I haven't come up with the words, from a student who is about to graduate, whose graduation was just canceled. And he's like, I don't know. He said, I was expecting these last couple of months to be able to go out and really find a job and but he's in the industry and he's like, I'm going to do sports. And I'm like, well, buddy, you're going to have to hit a pause button on there. How are you at other things right now? But those are cool things that, I think that we have the benefit of in that, an academic teacher, you may teach a kid once, period, one semester and they're done.
Right. Whereas
with us, we can have them for 8 semesters if we play our cards right and our administration plays fair.
Exactly.
So what's it like teaching where you graduated from?
It was the goal all along. Had I been hired at a different school, I would have been working to get over here. I graduated in 1997, and it was a completely different school at the time. It's amazing because I started out and there were still teachers that I had here at the time. They were getting ready to retire, but they got to see me as an adult, and a few of them remembered me and things like that. But West Hall, my entire family has kind of come through here at one point or another. My younger family, West Hall, has only been around for about 30 or so years. But it's great having some sort of hand in helping my local community. I want to make it the best place that I can possibly make it. And I want these kids to know that they can pretty much do anything that they want. And we're going to make this the best high school that we can possibly make it, just for, these kids that are here. They deserve it.
Excellent. And, that to me is a foreign concept. Other than 2 years after I graduated high school, my wife started teaching where I graduated from. So the Christmas party that year, at 20 years old, going to the Christmas party, and literally all of my teachers were still there. Was interesting. All right. So you asked me if we could talk about this on the podcast. We're going to go ahead and do it.
That was halfway a joke, but I will absolutely go down this.
So when I messaged Shannon to say, "Hey man, you want to be on the show?" He says, "Yeah, can we talk about Tiger King?" Which
it is so bonkers. It's just, oh my goodness. Yeah, my wife and I got into. My wife found it and she said, "Hey, people are talking about this Tiger King thing," and I had seen some of the memes, and I'd seen the satin leopard print jacket and all of those things, and I was like, surely not. And, it started out as like, okay, episode 1, he's got some tigers, big whoop. And then episode 2 comes, I'm like, what is going on? And then it just, there's 7 episodes, and 7 times things got weirder, and it was just nuts. And I've even like gone in and looked at some of the news of like, big cat rescue and things like that, and I've read their statement as far as what everything goes, but it was just one of those, it's one of those kind of signs of the times is the wrong word, but this is one of those things that we're going to remember about this quarantine, is this Tiger King thing that happened, and just the spectacle that it was.
We didn't come up with physics. We just came up with Joe Exotic.
Exactly. Release the Tiger King documentary. Oh my gosh. It was amazing.
So I think that there's a lot of lessons in there for our students.
Yes.
Well, starting with Big Cat. Her statement was, "I can't believe they released this that was so salacious and over the top."
That's the exact, yeah. And you're exactly right about there's an ethics lesson in there, because in her statement, she said she was approached to make a documentary similar to Blackfish, which was kind of eye-opening for SeaWorld. And then if you look at it, all that we know about Carol Baskin is that, allegedly she fed her husband to a tiger or whatever. Like, that's what they're trying to sell. And I'm like, come on.
Yeah. So, and on the flip side of that, I tell my students, as one of those, I tell them it's a free lesson, that if you ever see someone coming to you with a camera and say, "Can we get you on camera?" say no. Just say no. Yeah. Because if you are unintelligent or a spectacle or any of that, you're going to be used. But if you come across intelligent and well thought out, it's a waste of your time. They're not going to use you. And that's right. And that's what I wanted to tell her. I'm like, honey, yeah, I get that. But considering the characters in this play, there's no way it could be Blackfish. Right.
They're not coming, like, they've made Blackfish. They don't need to keep making Blackfish. Yeah. They're making this because you're linked to this Joe Exotic fella. And
she's pretty crazy too. Say what you will.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean,
yeah, it's
every one of those people is a character. They've, for whatever movie they're making there, I think they said that they're casting Kate McKinnon from SNL as Baskin.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, and it with Netflix and with the current situation, I don't know that if the quarantine or whatever you're calling this happens, I don't know that it gets that much publicity. It's just, we all have 24 hours a day now to fill with whatever. And
I think it has something to do with, people looking out there and it's like, okay, they're like, no matter what my situation is, there's a situation that's out there that trumps mine.
Oh, it's like going to the state fair. I mean, you go to the state fair, you feel better
Yeah.
about yourself.
Exactly right. Yeah.
I did tell a couple of our video production colleagues that if TNI happens and the three of us don't show up in pink button downs, I'm canceling it. I'll tell you who they were off air.
Oh yeah. Tip 4.
Let's get back to your classroom. So what's been your biggest success?
We've had several, and the news show is one of our biggest that's our most visible success. And we try to venture out into the community, and we try to our goal is to showcase the kids who might not be getting their names in the paper. So to me, that's a success. As far as other successes and things like that go, we've started like making seasonal sport hype videos as opposed to individual sport hype videos. That way that, the swim team gets built up as much as the football team. So those are all really cool things. But, seeing the kids that already have a love of film, and we do film study Fridays because, we do a lot of the broadcasting side of things, but we also like to pepper in the filmmaking. But we do film study Fridays, and it's not necessarily that we watch a movie those days. We watch clips, and then we talk about the behind the scenes. Like when we talked about color in film, we talked about the Technicolor camera, and we showed Wizard of Oz, and we talked about the basically anything that you could go down IMDb's trivia of a movie and talk about those things. So the kids really responded to that and really liked it. So before we left, we had actually missed out on doing several of those, but the intention is there. We every now and again we will pepper one in just on a random Friday, just so that we get to talk about the coolness of making movies.
Teaching to the test pattern.
The coolness of making movies while at the same time doing a daily newscast. That says a lot about Shannon and what he is doing at West Hall High School, and just his growth as a video production teacher, and just, his biggest successes are pretty impressive here in his first couple of years in existence as a program. If you're starting your program, make sure you reach out to Amatrace, AMITRACE.com. You've already done the first step. You've already reached out to somewhere, this podcast, to try to get some support. Now your next step, Amatrace, AMITRACE.com. Installs, builds, everything, training, whatever you need, they've got you. Reach out to them as you are getting started. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day. I hope that your quarantine or shelter in place or isolation or whatever you're in is treating you well and you're maintaining your sanity. And I hope that today you go and make some awesome.
Teaching to the test pattern.